Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu today we've got a title from the Ginga Ojousama Densetsu Collection, specifically this one here at the bottom, Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire. Sapphire was originally released on the PC Engine back in 1995. It went and required the expansion arcade card, which itself was quite rare, and the title itself is even rarer than that, making it one of the more pricey PC Engine titles currently available. Used copies usually go for well in excess of $400, and a new copy, definitely more than $1,000. Is it worth it? I personally don't think it's worth that much, and that's why I'm more than happy to go and have the title on this collection here, which you can go and usually pick up used for around $40, give or take. This collection was released back in 2008, and it's definitely the easiest way to go and obtain a copy of Sapphire. So, what kind of taste does Sapphire go and have? Let's get cooking and find out. Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, so first off, we get to go and select our character from 4 characters of the Burning Rabbits Police Squad. You've got your titular character, Sapphire, Charlotte, Elena, and Jasmine. Each character goes and has their own fighter with different weapons, and there's also a couple different handling attributes like speed that are different between the various fighters. For our purposes today, though, we're going to go ahead and pick Sapphire, since it makes sense to go and play the titular character of the game. Blast off! So, the plot of Sapphire is that it goes and takes place in the far-flung future where there's time travel has been invented, and of course, with anything, criminals are of course going to go and take advantage of something especially as powerful as time travel. So, hence we have the Burning Rabbits Police Squad that's tasked with going and chasing criminals and these awesome overpowered fighters through time. Maybe a little bit overkill, but pretty neat all the same. So we go and find ourselves in the stage 1 in the late 21st century, just going and flying over a super futuristic city with awesome neon and holographic lights everywhere. Really a great look. As far as setting is concerned. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the systems of the game itself. So as you may have noticed, there are power-ups that are going and being dropped by the enemies as I go and defeat them, and as I die as well, power-ups will also go and get dropped. And those power-ups come in 3 flavors: red, blue, and green. And depending on which color we go and get will depend on the weapon that we currently have equipped on our fighter. So right now I'm just going and using the red weapon, which is just essentially for Sapphire, and I believe it's the same that is true with the other characters as well, but it just pretty much acts as a powerful straight laser. And if we can go and get some blue, I'll go ahead and show that off. For Sapphire, it's kind of, I actually wish I had blue here. It works really effectively on this sub-boss. Since I don't, I will just use the bombs that you go and have, since you do go and have bombs in this game. Let's go ahead and change over to, there we go, her penetrating laser here. Then there's also green, which for Sapphire is this really neat 3-way shot that as you get it fully powered up, it also goes and adds a tail shot as well. Well, we'll go and show that. In addition to going and powering up your weapon, when you pick up power-ups, you also go and get... I'm going to go ahead and change the green here. You also go and get options to the side of you, and those options do a really neat thing. If you stop firing and let the options go and charge up, you can go and unleash the options on your enemy. They'll go and home in and deal some really massive damage, as well as if they go and defeat enemies, you'll go and get some pretty nice bonus points, which makes it easier to go and get 1-ups and extended continues, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if I defeated that enemy or if it actually self-destructed. Oh well. Warning! It's dangerous for you to come! Well... yeah. So here we are at the first oops, the boss of stage 1. So yeah, when you go and die, they are nice and give you a power-up pickup. A nice little pity reward, I guess. Wow, that was definitely my own bad. Okay, that's the first stage of this boss. The second stage, this boss goes and does some kind of annoying stuff, you know, firing his pedals at us. But that's not the part that I find annoying. This is reaching out and trying to pull us in. We use bombs to get out of it. So, one thing about Sapphire that made it notable for the time is it's probably the most graphically impressive shoot-'em-up on the PC Engine console. Definitely provided for by the fact that it goes and uses the arcade card expansion for the PC Engine, which just basically goes and gives the system more RAM, so you know you can go and load in more sprites. You can do a lot more with the visuals on the screen if you have more memory to go and work with. One of the things that they went and did is they went and created these really detailed sprites that essentially look like they're 3D polygons going to be manipulated on screen, but it's just a really clever trick to go and make the sprites that they go and have look like 3D polygons. Still, it does go and provide for a really great visual effect, and their efforts definitely are noted. These guys, these triangular enemies, are exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that 3D stuff. So now we're in the 12th century, where there are fire-breathing dragons that aren't fans of futuristic, time-traveling police women. It's like, seriously, dragons these days. Can't they go and just accept the way that the future has become? So, graphically wise, it was a neat trick to be able to go and pull off the polygons, the polygon appearance, but sadly it's not actually truly going and manipulating polygons. Maybe they felt, since it was released in '95 and the PlayStation and Saturn had made their debut by that point, that in order to go and compete with the market, that they needed to go and have that visual flair. Sadly, the arcade card never did go and get very wide acceptance, and Sapphire never was produced in any great number. So that helps go and explain its rather insane prices on auction sites, both used and new. Well, that sub-boss was no challenge. As far as difficulty is concerned, I do admittedly have it set to the easiest difficulty, so it might not be very representative of how tough this game can go and be. It's not easy per se, but especially compared to the crazy bullet hell shooters that we go and have in this day and age, it's not necessarily a very difficult game either. There's a neat little effect as we go and the screen goes and manipulates itself around in such a way that we can see we're going into the castle. Going and taking out dragons coming out of pictures. And here we have another great example of that 3D polygonal look that they were going for in these. I guess I should focus on playing and not just admiring the giant spinning balls. Wow, that was sad. Okay, moving on, we're just about to the boss of stage 2. Warning, it's dangerous for you to come. Now, regardless of how it was accomplished, I have to go and say, this boss here definitely looks pretty neat. This, polygonal face, waving its earwax at us. Maybe he doesn't look that great. I take back what I said, this guy's terrifying. Then it changes from that face to this really badass looking skull. Spider skull with lasers and eye beams. Popcorn? I think a bomb or two, yep, should go and finish it off. Yep, not a normal terrorist. What's your goal? We're going back even further in time, to the 7th century. Well, at any rate, I think that'll just about go and finish me up for today's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. There you go and have it. Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire. Admittedly, it is kind of a short game, though, because even though we only finished the first 2 stages, we're 2/5 of the way through the game. There are 5 stages total. They definitely, even on the easiest difficulties, they definitely go and get quite a bit harder. The last stage, in particular, eats up like lives like no tomorrow. Maybe I'm just bad at it, but who knows. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for coming out and joining me for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. If you have any suggestions for shoot 'em ups that you would like to go and see me play on the show, by all means, please leave those in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for going and joining me today, and I look forward to going and seeing you again next week.